The wind carried dust and gunfire through the broken valleys of Orphean 9. Once it had been a sanctuary world, lush, endless green, twin moons rising over lakes of glass. Now it was a battleground of ash and echoes. Lyra knelt beside a dying tree, blood seeping through the cracks of her suit. Her voice trembled as she whispered into the collar mic. "Command, the cubs are safe. Repeat, the cubs." The plasma bolt struck her mid-sentence. Her body jerked once, then stilled. The three small figures hiding behind her didn't cry. They were wolf children, half human, half Leaken, their eyes silver in the gloom. Lyra had raised them since birth, refugees from a failed experiment meant to create peace between two species that only knew war. Now, staring at her fallen form, something ancient stirred in their blood. They turned as one to face the man who had fired. Captain Wren lowered his rifle. His visor flickered with target data and heat signatures, but he ignored the readouts. He knew what he'd done. He also knew why orders were orders. The hybrids were to be eradicated, the scientists terminated, the valley cleansed. Simple.
Clean.
Efficient. But nothing about what stood before him was simple. The cubs didn't attack. They didn't run. They stepped forward slowly, eyes glowing brighter with every heartbeat. Then, softly, impossibly, they began to sing. It wasn't human song. It was vibration, low, harmonic, layered with tones beyond hearing. The air shimmered. The dust lifted in gentle spirals. The very world seemed to listen. Wren staggered backward as the valley pulsed with resonance. His helmet sensors went wild, gravity flux, molecular disruption, electromagnetic bloom. The cub's song wasn't sorrow. It was awakening. The beginning. Hours earlier, the valley had been quiet. Lyra had led the cubs through the forest, her hand resting gently on the smallest one's head. "Stay close," she'd murmured. "The patrols are getting nearer." The oldest cub, Kale, tilted his head. "Why do they hate us?" "Because they fear what they don't understand," she said softly. "But one day, they'll see you for what you are, bridges, not weapons." Lyra had once worked for the Human Expansion Directorate, designing genetic sequences to merge human intelligence with Leaken resilience. She believed coexistence was possible. Her colleagues called her naive. The Directorate called her a traitor. So she ran. And when the Directorate sent Wren to hunt her, she didn't run fast enough. By dusk, she had reached the ancient temple at the heart of the valley, an alien relic left by the builders long before humans or lichens existed. She didn't know its purpose, only that it hummed when the cubs were near. It felt alive. Inside, glowing veins of crystal pulsed with light, matching the cubs' heartbeats. Lyra placed her palm on the wall. It pulsed back, warm and steady. "It's listening," she whispered. Kale sniffed the air. "Something's coming." And then came the soldiers. The middle. Wren's unit advanced through the fog, their suits gleaming with Directorate insignia. The order was clear: retrieve the hybrids or eliminate them. He hadn't expected to find Lyra alive. When she stepped from the temple, her hair unbound and her coat streaked with dust, he froze. Once, years ago, they had studied together. Once, he had loved her. "Wren," she said, voice breaking. "Don't do this. They're children." "They're code violations," he replied coldly, though his finger hesitated on the trigger. "You know what the Directorate decreed." "They're alive," she pleaded. "They feel, they dream. Look at them." The cubs peeked from behind her legs. Their eyes caught the light, bright, curious, innocent. Wren's chest tightened. "You can't save them," he said finally. "Then I'll die trying." And she did. The shot came reflexively, a twitch of guilt and training intertwined. She fell before she finished her sentence. When her body hit the ground, the air changed. The temple lights flared. The cub's pupils dilated until their eyes became silver mirrors. Then came the song, the awakening. The frequency rose until Ren's visor cracked from the pressure. He ripped the helmet off, gasping. The sound filled him, not through ears, but through bone and blood. He saw images, Lyra's memories bleeding into his mind. Her first experiments, her laughter, her tears when the directorate ordered the lab destroyed, her arms cradling the newborn hybrids, whispering lullabies in two tongues. Her hope that one day even soldiers like him might see them as children, not abominations. Ren staggered, clutching his head. Stop, please. But the cub's song wasn't rage. It was remembrance. Each note rebuilt what she had tried to create, a link between minds, a harmony of species. The temple awakened fully, responding to the resonance. Light cascaded through the walls like rivers of molten silver. The ground trembled. The smallest cub, Mira, reached toward Ren. She loved you, she said in a voice both childlike and ancient. He stared at her, shaking. You can speak. She nodded. We all can. We remember everything she gave us. Kale's voice followed, deeper, almost adult. She said humans forget love when they fear too much. We will remind them. And then they sang again, 3 voices merging into one chord that cracked the clouds above. The change. Across the valley, Directorate ships hovering in low orbit began to fail. Their systems overloaded. Their pilots screamed as their minds filled with impossible visions, memories not their own. The cub's resonance was spreading through the planet's network, through every relay, every neural link humanity had built. It was rewriting the code of division. Ren dropped to his knees. He could feel her now, Lyra, somewhere within the light. Her consciousness echoed in the harmony. She wasn't gone. She had transferred herself into the resonance before death, her final act of defiance and love. Lyra, he whispered. Her voice answered through the song, soft as breath. Protect them, Ren, or become what you fear. He bowed his head. I don't deserve forgiveness. Then earn it, the voice replied. When he looked up, the cubs had stopped singing. They stood in a circle around him, eyes no longer glowing but calm, human-like. Kale stepped closer and placed a small paw, half hand, half claw, against his chest. You can help, the cub said simply, if you choose. The decision. Ren rose slowly. The soldiers behind him, dazed by the song, lowered their weapons one by one. No one spoke. The world itself seemed to hold its breath. He turned toward the temple. Lyra's body still lay where she'd fallen, but her face was peaceful now, lit by the crystalline glow. He holstered his rifle. Then he knelt beside her and whispered, I'm sorry. The cubs watched silent. When he stood again, he faced his unit. Mission's over. We're leaving. One soldier blinked. Sir, command will. Command no longer matters, Ren said. Look around you. The old code is dead. He gestured to the cubs. They're the future, and I'll protect them. The others hesitated. Then, one by one, they removed their visors and dropped them to the ground. Outside, the sky had changed color, no longer gray, but tinged with silver. The resonance had spread beyond Orpheon 9. Across the network, humans everywhere heard faint echoes of that same song, awakening empathy long buried. The ending. Months later, the directorate collapsed.